Hello and welcome to my October wrap up. So I read 10 books. Let me actually go get the ones that I have. I'm wearing my Taylor Swift sweatshirt. It says, "Best believe I'm still bejeweled." My friend made it for me. I love it. So first I read Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is part of the Throne of Glass series. This is, if you read Assassin's Blade first, but even if you don't, it's still the fifth book in this series. And I absolutely loved this. I ate this up. I am so glad that our main characters are coming into their own and like fighting for what they think is right, even though none of them really want, well, I guess Dorian, but none of them really want to be in the position that they're put in, obviously, but I feel like they're all taking their roles very seriously, and it's so interesting to watch like how they come to conclusions and what kind of solutions they come up with and how they process things and move forward from everything the way that they have been. And there's so much that happened in this book specifically that is really going to affect how they move forward and how their stories will go after this. But I'm so excited and scared for what comes next. I will be doing the tandem read. It's actually on my November TBR, and I am excited and scared, but it's going to be a good time. And I gave this 5 stars. I was completely hooked the entire time, and yeah, it was a really good story. And then I read volumes 5 and 6 of Lore Olympus by Rachel Smythe. I always do this. I think it's Smith. I can't say much about these just because they are further into the series, but this series is a Hades and Persephone retelling. Sorry, I'm getting over COVID and it's really hard for me to talk, but I wanted to get this out. So it is a Hades and Persephone retelling in a graphic novel form. The art style is beautiful. The relationship between Hades and Persephone is it's so sweet because you have this god who, like, yes, is scary and bad and terrifying, but in this context he is all of those things, but really sweet and gentle and caring when it comes to her, which is just, I always love seeing that. Their friendship, because you start with their friendship and then you eventually get their relationship, but their friendship is just, it's lovely. It's so well done, and you can see that they both really care about each other. I will always say this: look up trigger warnings. There are so many ways you can be triggered by this series, and I have to put it down every once in a while because I get triggered by it, but it's so good. I just wouldn't recommend reading a million volumes at once. And then I read Saga. Oh, sorry. Both of them are 5 stars because I love the series so much, and I don't think I can rate it less than 5 stars, if that makes any sense. Do you have graphic novels like that where you're just like, it's amazing, even if like you could probably pick something out that's not that great? Okay, but I digress. So again, then I read Saga Volume 11 by Brian K. Vaughan. Again, very far into the series, so I can't say much, but this is a sci-fi graphic novel series about found family, and it is just, it's so beautiful. Like, the art style is great. It's so cool. It's very fun. But the story, it's beautiful the way that the found family set up, the way that our characters like have to navigate different situations and how they get through it. And there's so much going on in the series, and it can be really sad, but it can also be really, really fun or silly, and it's a good time. But it's 100% worth it. Like the series as a whole is just I'm obsessed with it, and I gave that 5 stars as well. That's another one of those graphic novel series where like I can't not give it 5 stars. But and then I read To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn. This is the 5th book in the Bridgerton series. It was okay. It was fine. I feel like Julia Quinn always writes her male characters to be like super aggressive and sexual, and that's it. Like I don't love that. I don't think any woman loves that. And like the more I think about the series, like the book series, I can't I don't feel like any of them deserve more than 3 stars. I'm sure I gave probably the last one I read more than 3 stars, but like the you go into them wanting like a Regency romance, and you get men being mad at women for being women. I don't know. There was a like letter situation in this one, which was cool because you're no longer getting the Lady Whistledown vibe. It's so the letters were cool, and did I did like Eloise in the book, but it was still a chore to get through. Like I was still having to actively be like, okay, we're listening to this audiobook. And that I don't like having to make myself remember to listen. And I originally did give this 3 stars, but I think the more I think about it, it's probably more like 2 stars. So I don't know. I don't know where I stand with this. And then I reread Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. I can't remember what I gave this the first time I read it. Maybe 4 stars. And this was a little difficult for me to reread. I don't know why, but I did really enjoy it. It took me a lot longer, especially for how short it is, to get through it. And I don't know. I don't know why. But in this, Fortuna she's a nightmare. They're kind of going extinct. And she is in search of her brother who disappeared 2 years ago. And then this man, he's a fairy, comes and tells her he knows where he is, and he could help her get to her brother. So she makes a deal with him, and the story just goes from there. And there's quite a few twists and turns. There's Marriage of Convenience, which I love Marriage of Convenience. And there's trials. There's a lot of different fantasy species mentioned. Yeah, it was a good time. There are some triggering things in here, but not quite that bad just yet. I think it gets worse in the next few books, but we left off on a pretty big cliffhanger. So I'm excited to move on to the next one. That was 4 stars this time. Then I read Daydream by Hannah Grace. This, I really enjoyed this actually. I really, really loved this. So we got a lot of really good moments of Henry and Hallie forming a friendship, and like how good of friends they are to each other, what that means to them. Hallie doesn't have really any friends. She just went through a really rough breakup where all of her friends were actually his friends, and so we see her forming friendships, and she thinks it's going to be another situation where she's becoming friends with all of Henry's friends, but they remind her, like, no, we're your friends too, and if you weren't friends with him, we would still be friends with you, kind of thing, which was so sweet. There are times where, like, I think everybody's felt like this, where you feel like insecure in your friendships, and so it was really good to see her have that kind of confirmation from her friends. I also like that Hannah Grace didn't actually diagnose Henry with anything. She just kind of hinted at what he might be dealing with. There is an author's note at the very beginning that kind of walks you through a potential diagnosis, but she very clearly does not want to give him one, if that makes sense. But we're still seeing all of his strengths and all of his challenges that he's working through. The only reason this wasn't a 5-star is because I wish we could have seen more of the relationship between Hallie and Henry. Like, we got the, like, a lot of the friends, a little bit of friends with benefits, and then the relationship. And the relationship was just like a very, very small section, maybe like the last little bit. But I really did like this. Again, this was 4 stars. I mean, I'm wanting to cry again. Okay, like, I'm just thinking about it. I try not to think about it because then it makes me really, really emotional. Oh gosh, this quote. It's the great undoing of my heart as I know it. Sorry, I had so much I wanted to say, but this is Daisy Hates The Great Undoing by Jessa Hastings. This book is the 4th in the Magnolia Universe series, Magnolia Parks universe. I am not okay after this. I don't know if you could tell by me saying that I want to cry. Yes, this is 5 stars. I'll tell you that right now. It's 5 stars. My one complaint, I just have one, and this is a long book, almost 500 pages. My one complaint is that we didn't have more of Daisy and Christian actually together. We have them navigating, like, kind of a friendship, and then navigating trying to get back together, and then we have them together. Sorry, this is spoilers. I just wish we had a little bit more of them together. I am so sad for these characters. They're going through so much. Like, so much. So much. I just want everyone to be okay and happy, and, like, I feel like I'm friends with these people. I don't know these people. Obviously, they're not real, but they are, and I want them to be okay. I feel like while reading this book in particular, but the series as a whole, you go through every single emotion. I think I cried, I laughed, I smiled, I got mad. Like, you really feel everything. I cannot wait to read the next one. I finished this one and then immediately was like, no, don't buy the one on the Kindle, like the next book on the Kindle, because you're not trying to buy that many books right now. But it was really, really difficult, and I cannot wait to get to the next one. I'm hurting. I just want Julian to be okay. I want Daisy to be okay. I want Christian to be okay. I want everyone to just, like, have a big hug. And I love them. 5 stars. Okay. Then I read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Oh, my dog was in here. He's not anymore. That's sad. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. I really enjoyed this. It's hard not to compare the books to the movies because this is my first time reading the books. I had never read the books as a kid. It's really hard not to do that, but both are so iconic. Like this book, the way that the descriptions in this book, I can understand and like picture it, and it's so cool because I just picture it the way the movie pictured it. Like, does that make sense? Does that make sense? There's one specific thing I'm thinking of whenever they're explaining the Weasley house, and how it just looks like as the family grew, one part was added on, and it just looks haphazard. And the way that it was described in the book is exactly how I pictured it and how the movie portrayed it. I don't know if that makes any sense. But I felt like I was literally at school with Hermione. We were best friends and we were in class together, and Ron and Harry were there. It was so cool. Like you really get sucked in, and it's just a good time. It just didn't give me the 5-star feeling, but it was a really, really good time. So it's 4 stars. And then I read Coraline by Neil Gaiman. This was our book club pick for October. It was so creepy and fun. Like, I don't understand how something can be creepy and fun at the same time, but it was. Coraline is such a clever character. She's such a clever girl. I think I would have immediately moved out of that house. But that's just me. There wouldn't have been a story. The drawings in the book add to the creepiness, and then if you read the audiobook, like if you listen to the audiobook, the narrator, which I believe was Neil Gaiman, actually sings the songs, which was really creepy. So it just, both, like if you read it physically or if you listen to the audiobook, both have like added levels of creepiness sprinkled in. It's really cool. I really enjoyed it. And then I watched the movie for the first time as well, which was cool. I had never watched it, and I think the ending in the book is better than the ending in the movie, but the movie was a little bit creepier to me, just a little bit. But I really enjoyed it, and I gave it 4 stars. So yeah, good time. And that is the 10 books that I read in October. Even just this stack, like this stack of 5 books that I read, I'm very proud of this. Like, these are books that this one I've been putting off. This one I was scared to read, but very excited at the same time. So I was kind of putting it off. I don't know if that makes sense. And then Daydream, I've been putting it off since it released. Fortuna Sworn, I've been putting off this reread. And then Queen of Shadows, like, I've been putting off the series as a whole. And the fact that I've gotten through so many of the books so quickly, like, I'm so proud of that. Those are the 10 books that I read in October, and I'm so happy that I was able to get to these books because I had a really, really good time. Like, I don't think there was anything I read. Well, obviously, there's nothing I read this month other than To Sir Philip with Love that I wasn't, like, crazy obsessed with. Everything was such a good time. And I'm really hoping that November is just like that, and that I get some really, really good fun reads, some emotional reads, all of the things. I'm so excited for my reads in November as well, so stick around for any vlogs that I might put out, or especially my November wrap up at the end of this month. So if you liked this video, please feel free to like and comment down below and let me know which of these books have you read and really enjoyed, and then subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Bye.